I am off for an adventure, a quasi-adventure. I got a certificate from Airbnb for being a superhost, but it expires at the end of May. So I figured I should use it now because I'm going to have surgery and there's no way I'm going to be able to use the certificate at the end of May. So my friend Suzanne and I are going to an Airbnb in Cᴇʀʏ. So you know how people take baby moons now? They go on like a vacation before a baby comes. I'm going on a surgery moon, a pre-surgery getaway. So I'm looking forward to it, and it'll be really cool. We both haven't been to Cᴇʴʏ, which is a mountain area just outside of Panama City. All right, we'll see what the adventure holds. Traffic. The adventure held traffic. Well, it's definitely been an adventure so far. There was construction traffic. We just got done with traffic because they were building an overpass, and now we sat in traffic for probably an hour because they're repaving a road. Then I missed a turn on Waze and
exit right, then turn left on right. Via Club de Golf.
All right, I gotta pay attention. We decided to stop and get something to eat before getting to Cᴇʏʏ because we didn't know if there would be any restaurants up in that area. So we stopped at a restaurant slash store slash I don't know what else, but it was actually really delicious food. I'd read good reviews on Google, and these wontons were delicious. The sushi was amazing. We couldn't even finish it all. And then got back on the road, hit a little bit more traffic, and eventually started getting up the mountain road to Cᴇʏʏ. After a little glitch getting to find the property, we got in and we're so looking forward to soaking in that hot jacuzzi and having a nice meal and just getting a good night's rest. Well, this has been a really interesting experience coming to La Samia Écolage in Cerro Azul. You know, you've heard me talk about the contrast in Panama, and this is a perfect example. So I'm gonna try and put all my thoughts together. And I need to preface this by saying that I have been watching a lot of Gordon Ramsay, Hell's Kitchen, and Hotel Hell. So that might be influencing my level of expectation about things, because in both of those shows, if you've seen them, I mean, he just wants perfection. You know, he's like really expecting the best from everyone at all times. And he swears a lot. I'm going to try not to swear. I decided, you know, I'm going to take my friend Suzanne and we'll enjoy the jacuzzi. And I mentioned ahead of time, I asked the manager, Paul, through Airbnb app, is the water hot in the jacuzzi? Yes. And the booking showed that we had a junior suite and that it had 2 beds and 2 sofas so that we would each have our own bed. It stated that very clearly on the Airbnb, you know, like description of where you're staying. Also, in the directions, it only said put in La Samia Écolage into Waze or Google Maps. And so we did that, and we start, you know, driving up to Cerro Azul, and then had to turn around like 5 times because we couldn't find a road. It kept saying like, you know, turn left or turn right, but there was no road to turn into. There was only like a gated community thing, and there was no information in the Airbnb app about when you get to this gate, and maybe a picture would have been nice, you know, at this gate called Urbanización Las Nubes, you know, message me or message, you know, someone, give us a number, and we'll open the gate. So that would have been really helpful to know, because Suzanne was driving her truck, and, you know, it's on a small mountain road. It's hard to turn around like 5 different times. Plus, we'd sat in traffic, and, you know, driving from Coronado, like it took a few hours, sat in traffic where they're, you know, repaving the road. We were tired, you know, and she was tired of driving. We're looking forward to the jacuzzi. And it's frustrating not to be able to find the entrance of the place. And it's really frustrating for an Airbnb host to have that lack of attention to detail from another host. So anyway, we get in to the place, and it's really pretty. Like, the place has a lot of potential. But they showed us to one room that had one bed and one like futon. And, you know, we tried to ask, like, you know, no, like, you know, we have the room with 2 beds and, you know, 2 sofas. And then, you know, I finally got to talk with Paul. And this is what he said. The first thing he says is, I'm sorry, we don't usually get a lot of reservations through Airbnb. We use Booking. And I said, that's none of my business. You know, then that's up to you as an Airbnb host to remove yourself from Airbnb or update the information. So whoever, you know, had updated whoever listed them on Airbnb, they had incorrect information. They listed the room incorrectly. So he was nice enough to give us each a room so we could sleep in our own bed, and we didn't have to sleep on that futon. But that's a mistake that any Airbnb host should never make. I mean, you should never make that kind of mistake. You've got to make sure that your listing is accurate. I mean, that's like very important. So then, come to find out, there is no hot water in the jacuzzi. The hot water's not working. And I didn't even bother messaging him about that, because at this point it's just kind of turning into a comedy of errors. So that's very disappointing, because I specifically asked him, like, does the hot water, you know, I don't know if I said, does it work, but I said, is there hot water in the jacuzzi? Because in Panama, a lot of times you won't actually have a hot water jacuzzi. They'll have jets, but it won't be hot water. It'll just be like the temperature in a pool or something. And so I was really looking forward to this, because, you know, I love jacuzzis, and just with what my body's been through with the gallbladder thing, I was really looking forward to that. So that turned out not to be accurate, and you know, it's upsetting. And then we met Alejandro, who you'll see in this video, and he's amazing. And he just recently took over managing the property, and the 2 women that were here were very sweet and really, you know, tried to be very accommodating. And, you know, they knew that we were frustrated. Nothing to do with them at all whatsoever. And the woman who made breakfast this morning, I had a pancake, and it was probably the best pancake I've ever had. So the other thing about this place is it needs some TLC. In the rooms, there are some outlets work and some don't. Some light switches work and some don't. Some there's no like string on the fan, on the ceiling fan, to make it go on and off. So you have to get on a chair to turn on or off the ceiling fan. I would say cleanliness, it's pretty good, you know, comparatively to places I've stayed. But there was a bunch of dead bugs all around the bulb in the lamp right by my bed. But I have to say the bed was super comfortable, like really comfortable. And a choice of like different pillows of, you know, firmnesses or softnesses. So the bed, like, and having a good night's sleep on a comfortable bed is, you know, priceless. Like that's really valuable. So, you know, I can definitely see the potential in this place. And I think with Alejandro being here and he's a yogi and like, you know, for him, it's very important to have like, you know, good energy. And, you know, I think if they work out these kinks in communication and update the Airbnb listing and have someone that's more proactive, like instead of just saying, you know, yeah, there's hot water, maybe communicate with the people who are actually at the property and ask them, like, turn the jacuzzi on, make sure there's hot water. We have a guest coming who, you know, has specifically asked about that. And also I had asked if there were kayak rentals at the lake, and the only answer was yes. So when I'm hosting people, first of all, I ask them proactively about things. Do you want any information on hikes or restaurants in El Valle? And if they ask, then I give them links, I give them descriptions, I, you know, tell them like whatever information I have. So, you know, just like having that little bit of elevated customer service mindset goes a long, long way. And just how important communication is, because if Paul, who lives in the city, had communicated with the people here at the property in Cerro Azul, he would have known that there's no hot water in the jacuzzi, and maybe he could have taken a moment to look at the listing to confirm, you know, what was being reserved, and then maybe he would have noticed like, oh, wait a minute, there aren't 4 beds in this room, you know, let me tell the guest, you know. And so you can be proactive and not have to, you know, be scrambling and apologizing. Be proactive and prevent mistakes. I think this is the Gordon Ramsay coming out. Anyway, the birds are beautiful here. Like there's birds I have not seen that we don't have in El Valle. So that's been amazing. We're not gonna drive up like to the area where it's the gated residential community. Alejandro was saying that you can pay $15 to get a tour of Cerro Azul, but we don't really want to do that. We're gonna just walk down a path that goes to the lake. We're not even necessarily really feeling like we want to kayak. So we might just, you know, leisurely make our way back on the road. There are some protests happening, and it is a weekday, and so toward the afternoon there will be all the reverse traffic, you know, people leaving the city, and we definitely don't want to get stuck in that. And with protests happening, you're never really sure like where there might be, you know, some road closures. The protests right now are generally about the social security system. So there's like teachers that are, you know, joining the protests. And by protests, usually that means road closures. So social security, the U.S. troops being in Panama at the canal, though it's supposed to be temporary, a lot of the Panamanians don't like this idea, and so there's some protesting. And then also there's talk of reopening the mine, and that is also causing, you know, some protest road closures. So it's been a mixed experience for sure. Very disappointing you know, I really wanted Suzanne to enjoy herself. I wanted to enjoy myself, but like I felt responsible for her because this was my idea and she was driving. And anyway, we enjoyed our time together, chatting, catching up. I hadn't really, you know, spent a lot of time with her in a few months, and making the best of it. But mixed reviews on this place for sure. So that's it for now. All right, I'm chatting with yoga teacher, yogi, and manager, Alejandra. Why don't you just introduce yourself to my subscribers and tell us a little bit about your background and where we are.
Okay, hi everyone. Happy present moment. I am new here. I like always to work in a place that I can make content from my yoga lifestyle. And this place in the forest, in the mountain in Cᴇʀᴏ here in Panama, is the best place. I'm enjoying to take care of my clients, and you can enjoy here every day with birds, good ambient with cold breeze. So that's the reason why I can enjoy it early in the morning to do yoga and then to attend all the clients.
And what are you going to be doing any yoga classes here, do you think, or any
Yeah,
yoga retreats?
I invite you people that if you want to arrange a yoga class, you can go to the Cᴇʀʏ or visit the Instagram at Cᴇʀʏ, and you can see the reels that we made now, is recently, for the yoga classes. I am one of the best yoga teachers of Panama, so we had a divine place to practice yoga up in the yard.
Yeah.
So we invite you to enjoy and stay here in Cᴇʀʏ.
Thank you. You can see the potential this place has. I mean, it's relaxing, it's in a lush setting. The women who work there are very accommodating and nice. And I think Alejandro is going to do a good job to bring this place into tip-top shape. And it would be a great spot for a yoga retreat. We then went for a walk in the area, and these birds in the trees are the Oropendulas. So it's a black bird with some yellow markings, and you can see these nests are just these long pendulous sacs that hang from the pine trees. I think that's their preferred place to create their nests because I've seen other pine trees that also have the nests on them. I have Oropendulas in my yard, but I don't have the nests. So they must come and just gather food from the trees that are, actually it's in the property right next to my house, and then they must go somewhere where they nest. And I don't know if these birds nest all the time or if they just nest when they're having their young, because that was kind of fascinating to learn that birds don't always live in a nest. It's only when they're going to be laying eggs and raising their young that they typically build a nest. But I don't know about the Oropendula for sure. But it's a really cool bird and cool nest. We made our way down the mountain, really cool view of Panama City from Cerro Azul, and went over the Centenario Bridge, which is the second bridge, I guess we call it. And I love going over the canal. I mean, every time you drive over it, it's just a really cool feeling because knowing now, like all the history, especially, but it's pretty special. We ended up going to Costa Verde to get some lunch, and it was really nice to sit in a modern restaurant with a diverse menu and good aromas around and a great atmosphere and professional servers. Talk about contrast. Look at this beautiful piece of corvina that I had at lunch. Compare that to fish sticks for dinner at the La Semilla Eco Lodge. Costa Verde is a really good option for big box shopping, and the Price Mart is there. So if you don't want to go into the city but you need lots of stuff, that is definitely a good option. You'd think I was gone a week for how happy I was to be back. There's no place like home. Oh, it's always so nice to be back in my garden to see my kitty. Ooh, there's some hibiscus flowers. These are beautiful. And the Confederate rose in the afternoon being pink. Oh my gosh, the sun's out today. It's beautiful. This is like a summer day, and we had a huge downpour a few days ago. So it's nice to see the sun. Back home, gonna do my Airbnb review and put the video together. Anyway, I'm gonna go visit Feather because I left her alone for the night. I think she might have had a party, I'm not sure. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next Sunday.